In about 20 years, people will look back and say, where were you during the digital gold rush? And if you recognized it and you did something about it, you'll be rich. And if you recognized it and talked about it, you'll have good stories. And there'll be a lot of people that didn't recognize it, and they'll be wherever they are.
In a recent keynote at the HCWRI Annual Global Investment Conference, Michael Saylor delivered an in-depth presentation on Bitcoin, specifically tailored for institutional investors. Saylor explained why Bitcoin is a game-changer for institutions seeking portfolio diversification and protection against inflation. He compared Bitcoin's long-term value to traditional assets, highlighting why it continues to outperform its competition. At the time of the discussion, Bitcoin was trading at around $58,000, showing a 1% increase over the past 24 hours and a 3% rise in the past week.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
But diversification generally is selling the winner to buy the losers. If you diversified out of Amazon, you lost. If you diversified out of Apple, you lost. If you diversified out of Microsoft into any of the 100,000 other business software companies, you lost. And why is that? Because in the modern era, if you can establish a digital network which goes to 1 billion people, it's got such a crushing economic advantage that it's unlikely that anybody else is going to be able to catch up with it. And Microsoft is proving that today, so many years after it was founded. Now, the question is, what's the solution? Is Bitcoin the solution? Well, the last 4 years, Bitcoin's performance is 46%. It's totally crushing every other asset class and every other idea. And it's definitely beating the rate of monetary inflation. This is a chart put up by Bitwise yesterday. This is the last 14 years of Bitcoin. As you can see, the top performing assets, the top of the chart, Bitcoin is winning the investor Super Bowl 11 out of the last 14 years. We think that Bitcoin is the first perfect money. We think Bitcoin is paradigm shift. We think Bitcoin is the singularity where science collides with economics. We think you have to rethink economics. You have to rethink capital. You have to rethink money. You have to rethink business. You have to rethink corporate finance. That's what we think. And that's why we're winning. We think there's a fundamental technology shift here. There's a fundamental paradigm shift here. And we think we're going to keep winning. We think Bitcoin is digital gold. We think it has all of the virtues of sound money, none of the vices of physical gold, which was that barbaric relic. There's a lot of problems with gold. We think that Satoshi got rid of, engineered out all of the problems and just kept the good stuff. And if you ignored something that's won 11 of the last 14 years, either you didn't know about it, or maybe you thought one of these concerns was enough to keep you out of the asset. In my experience, everyone is against Bitcoin before they're for Bitcoin, including me. And my journey from skeptic to believer. This is my public utterance on December 18th, 2013. Bitcoin's days are numbered. It's just a matter of time before it suffers the same fate as online gambling. Government's going to ban it. This is what by the way, that's what I thought when Bitcoin was about $100 a share, or $100 a Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was $10,000 a Bitcoin, 100x later, this is what I thought. Oh my God, I have seen the light. Bitcoin is going to change the world. It's unstoppable. It's growing exponentially smarter, faster, and stronger. Now, this is the Bitcoin journey. And everybody goes through this journey. You're born a denier. It's tulip bulbs. It's a scam. This is the Peter Schiff. You're born a Peter Schiff. Maybe you stay a Peter Schiff. 1 hour is enough to be a skeptic. After 1 hour, you've learned just enough to hurt yourself. In 10 hours, you think, well, maybe it's an asset. I think I'll trade it. I'm going to buy it cheap and sell it when it's expensive. And then I'm going to buy it back cheap, and I'm just going to arbitrage something this way and that way. After 100 hours of study, of thinking about it, you become an investor. This is a digital monetary network. This is like Google for money. This is Facebook for money. Facebook for rich people. You know, Rupert Murdoch never brought 100 million friends to Facebook. When Rupert Murdoch buys into Bitcoin, the billionaire brings billions with them, right? The trading idea is not that complicated, and the investor idea is it's the next big tech network. It's a digital monopoly for money. After about 1,000 hours, you become a maximalist, and a maximalist is, this is an ethical imperative. The world's a better place with this, right? The money's broken. The world is broken. Billions of people are suffering. Fix the money, fix the world. That is the Bitcoin journey. Now, depression. It's 100 hours to an investor. I only have 41 minutes left. Welcome to the 1-hour Bitcoin investor crash course. So let's start with some basic principles. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin represents the digital transformation of energy. Apple's digitally transforming photos, and Google's digitally transforming books, you know, and Amazon digitally transformed the storefront, and NVIDIA is working to digitally transform intelligence. But what does it mean to digitally transform energy? Electricity. It's electrical energy that you can channel cleanly and silently over long distances and convert into heat, light, sound, vision. We extract clean energy with a nuclear reaction, changes the world. Now, by the way, a little aside, we attribute that to Enrico Fermi. He did that at the University of Chicago. University of Chicago is the university founded by John D. Rockefeller. There's a little bit of irony there. What's Bitcoin? Bitcoin's the discovery of digital energy that can be programmed by a computer and channeled through time and space. Okay, that's a lot to wrap your head around. There's a lot of applications with digital energy. What does it mean? It means something conservative. It means that I've got $1 billion worth of something and I can move it anywhere else in the universe or hold it for 1,000 years and it's still something, right? We haven't figured out how to do that until Satoshi. What's the most lucrative application of digital energy? It's the digital transformation of capital.
As we just heard from Michael Saylor, Bitcoin's resilience as an asset class is particularly noteworthy for long-term investors. Now, let's focus on 3 key topics. Bitcoin as a digital transformation of capital, the reasons it's outperforming traditional assets like real estate and bonds, and how institutions such as BlackRock are beginning to embrace Bitcoin. Saylor emphasizes that Bitcoin's scarcity, security, and performance make it the most compelling investment for those seeking both stability and growth in the digital age. Now, let's hear more from Michael Saylor on how institutions are adopting Bitcoin and why it's a game changer for investors.
If you're a wealthy person, if you're a middle-class person, if you're a working-class person, and you need a savings account anywhere on earth, and you have a mobile phone, you're going to want a Bitcoin. And that's what Bitcoin represents here. It's superior to foreign debt, equity, real estate, currency as capital asset. This is difficult for someone in Manhattan to grasp. You live in the greatest city in the world, right? And presumably the most secure city in the most secure economic network in the most powerful country that's ever existed, right? Anybody that owns an apartment in Manhattan would say, I'd never sell it. Everything else is a trade down, right? Everything's a trade down. I gift it to my children. I'm not leaving. But now put yourself in South America, in Venezuela or Argentina or Brazil, or put yourself in Nigeria, or put yourself in Lebanon and Syria. Heck, the Chinese have capital controls. You can only take $50,000 out of China every year. Why do you think that is? Because everybody wants to take their capital out of China. The Chinese currency would collapse if they actually eliminate the capital controls. What about volatility? Everybody talks about volatility. Well, why is it volatile? Well, it's volatile because anyone, anywhere can trade it because it's useful. Because if you need to sell $1 billion of something on Saturday night in a missile crisis, you can do it. It's the only thing you can do it with. It's volatile because there's no limitations, because there's thousands of active exchanges, because it's not supported well on the traditional banking system. It's volatile because it trades 8,760 hours a year, 5x the traditional market. It's volatile because you can bypass the exchanges, and it's volatile because it's cross-collateralized to every other kind of crypto. That's why it's volatile, but the volatility is a feature. It's not a bug. And this is a very important idea, right? We live in a world where most corporations think capital is toxic and volatility is a bug, and they try to eliminate volatility and they give away their capital. And I'm here to say volatility is vitality, it's life, and you should keep your capital, right? The volatility represents the advantage of Bitcoin. For investors, it's going to drive superior returns over the long term. For traders, it gives you a superior yield in the near term. For financiers, it's a superior opportunity to securitize that asset. And for analysts, it's just superior interest. There's always something going on. What about performance? Everyone is searching for an asset uncorrelated to the S&P 500 with higher returns on a risk-adjusted basis, right? This is the holy grail of portfolio theory. Well, you can reason from first principles. Let's just think about it. Bitcoin's an asset without counterparty risk. It doesn't give you risk facing a competitor, a country, a corporation, a creditor, a culture, a currency. All these other assets have a certain risk facing one of these elements. So from first principles, you can conclude this thing is and should be and will be uncorrelated, but you don't have to use first principles. This is Fidelity's analytics, right? So this is published. Bitcoin has the highest Sharpe ratio. Therefore, it has the highest risk-adjusted return. And you can see the correlation to the S&P. It's not correlated to the S&P. In fact, Bitcoin's the most popular, it's the most powerful crypto network in the world. It's got the most popular support, regulatory support, technical support, computer power, electrical power, political power, economic power. Once you understand these things, it's not any one thing, it's many, many things, but the result is all the smart money in the world looking for a way to store its value forever has sifted through 4 million cryptos, picked this one, put $800 billion into it. All the stupid money is buying the other stuff. So you're asking, well, what's going to protect this network? Well, all the smart people with all the money and all the power have picked the winner. What protects Google? What protects Apple? What protects Microsoft? Why is Meta in train? It's because at the end of the day, there's a bunch of people trying something and there's got to be a winner. What protects Amazon? Well, there's a winner, right? This is the winner. And what's this the winner of? It's the winner of the digital capital war. This is the dominant digital capital network. The MicroStrategy Bitcoin story. We started defensive, we went to opportunistic, we then became strategic, right? There's a Saylor tracker. Every single green dot is MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin. As you notice, I timed the highs and the lows well. We just buy all the time. There are no red dots. There is no selling. There is only buying. You buy when it's high, you buy when it's low.
Throughout this conversation, Michael Saylor highlights Bitcoin's pivotal role in the digital transformation of capital and its superior performance compared to traditional assets. We'd love to hear your perspective on a few questions. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin as a store of value? Do you view it as a long-term investment? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.